Part 62. Xuan Luzhao's ambition is to get this beautiful young man. Xuan Luzhao has been born with a cheap hand since he was a child. This is probably because the family is poor and can't see good things. His father was a poor and dutiful man. He was afraid that he would not be able to support himself when he grew up. When he was 8 or 9 years old, his father sent him to a restaurant in town as an apprentice. In the kitchen at the back, the first time he saw the 5-flavored crystal chicken that the master had spent 4 or 5 hours cooking for the mayor, he couldn't help but make a mistake. I have never seen such a mouth-watering dish before. Playing with the cabbage carrot cake and stuffing my stomach. The slippery skin is really like crystal, and the whole body is crystal clear. When you get close to it, you can smell it, and the smell of chicken pierces your nose. Xuan Luzhao, tisk, tisk, envious, no matter what, he stretched out his hand. Immediately, 5 black little fingerprints appeared on the flawless crystal chicken. Hey, you bastard! This is for the mayor. There was a sudden roar above his head, and a fan-sized hand waved down, causing him to roll over on the ground. Little bastard, you are also worthy of eating my chicken? The master didn't relieve his hatred, and he wanted to add 2 more feet to his stomach when he caught up. Luckily, Xuan Luzhao was so clever that he turned over like a monkey and ran out of the back door in a hurry. You escape. You escape. The master in charge was covered in fat, knowing that he would not be able to catch up, and while cursing, he untied the rope around the guard dog's neck. The black-mouthed guard dog made a wow and rushed towards him like an arrow. This dog opened his mouth to reveal his sinister white teeth, and slammed into Xuan Luzhao's thigh in tattered trousers. That time, he was sent home. I lay in bed for 3 days. My ears were full of his father's reprimands and nagging. What a man needs to be. Without that life, don't want to have such a dream. Dad said, how dare you touch the chicken made for the mayor? Showing Xuan Luzhao's dissatisfaction. Why can't I touch the chicken made for the mayor? If he couldn't become an apprentice in a restaurant, he could only go home to farm the fields. On the 4th day, his thighs were still throbbing, and he limped down to work. The land does not belong to their family, but to Xuan Huaifeng in the village. Every year when the grain is harvested, most of the grain is sent to Xuan Huaifeng's house in baskets and baskets, which is considered to be the land rent. That year, he still sent food to Xuan Huaifeng's family, and Xuan Luzhao went with his father. There were no animals. The car could only be pulled with ropes tied to his shoulders, and he was sweating profusely for more than 20 miles. In Xuan Huaifeng's courtyard with high walls of blue bricks, his father was standing in the corner, waiting anxiously for Xuan Huaifeng to receive questions. Xuan Luzhao turned his head and saw the far side of the crescent door, something reflected on the corridor steps. The sun shines brightly. It was a large vase half the height of a man. Xuan Luzhao has never seen it before. So beautiful, so delicate, white and red, with flowers and birds painted on it. The leaves are green and sparkling, as if dripping water. The steward in the yard was busy weighing the grains and calculating the farm rent. But no one noticed that the smelly farming boy passed through the insurmountable crescent gate and touched the cold and delicate porcelain bottle with his dirty hands. Little bastard. Dare to steal something here? Xuan Huaifeng just came out to meet those ants like tenants. His eyes jumped, and he scolded like thunder. Xuan Luzhao said, I didn't steal. I just touched it. Xuan Huaifeng said, Bah! How dare you touch my things? Come, come. So, he was beaten by Xuan Huaifeng's family, after losing half of his life. If it wasn't for his father running and begging, considering that his father had paid the land rent on time for decades, he would have never cut off a little thief's hand, to set an example. This time, I lay in bed for more than 2 months. He couldn't afford to hire a doctor or take medicine. His father thought he would die, but he dragged and dragged him on the verge of death. The grass in the field was as cheap as grass, and he slowly recovered. After getting out of bed, Xuan Luzhao revealed that he was angry. Why can't I touch your porcelain bottle? After offending Huang Shanren, his family couldn't stay any longer, so Xuan Luzhao could only go to his uncle to show his bald head and become a soldier. Many years ago, my uncle went to Guangdong to serve as a soldier and fought a dozen bloody battles. After each battle, the chief officer died, the disabled and the disabled. Naturally, he rose steadily. And he became a division commander. Hearing about Xuan Luzhao in his hometown, his uncle laughed and praised him. Good boy. You have the courage of your uncle, not like your useless father. Home, the mayor's crystal chicken. Huang Shanren's vase, what a bird. Why can't you touch it? Damn it, even the chick in the crotch of the mayor's crotch, the tit of Huang Shanren's wife, you can touch it. In this world, you are timid to death. Yes. Then, he gritted his teeth again, his grandmother. You became a teacher, and he bullied my nephew before I had time to return to my hometown to be majestic? Watch me kick this litter of puppies over. Immediately told Commander Xuan leave, led a team of people, and rushed away with guns and knives. Xuan Luzhao asked, Uncle, what are you going to do? Xuan Luzhao got this, and as soon as he arrived in the town, a group of soldiers surrounded the restaurant, grabbed the shopkeeper, the master chef, and everyone who had coldly watched his jokes that day, forcing them to kneel in front of them and ask them, Where's the dog that bit me? In. At the back. Killed. Yes. You. He pointed to the master chef, cook this. You just used the method of cooking crystal chicken. If it doesn't look good, I will cook you. The master in charge was so frightened that his feet became weak, and he was dragged to the kitchen by two vicious soldiers. Just did this. Xuan Luzhao came all the way, and his hands were full of ashes without washing them. He smiled and touched them with ashes fingerprints. He called the master chef. You ate it. Yes. Eat it all. The master chef heard this sentence, crying and begging, Sir, the little one is damned, you forgive the little one. This is really not enough. If you can't finish it, I will kill you. The master shivered, ate with all his might, vomited and ate, until his stomach became round, and in the end, he couldn't swallow at all. Xuan Luzhao took the gun himself, shot him twice in the stomach, watched his fat body roll in a pool of blood, and asked coldly, Can't I touch the chicken you made for the mayor? The mayor was also escorted to the door of the restaurant. Witnessing this scene, he was too frightened to move. Xuan Luzhao said, This has nothing to do with you. Although the chicken is made for you to eat, you didn't even see my face back then. The mayor let out a sigh of relief, squeezed a smile and said, The handsome man is wise, the handsome man is wise. Xuan Luzhao said, However, my hometown, where my family lives for a long time, should find someone I trust. The mayor. It's more reliable. The mayor was stunned for a moment, and before a word came out of his mouth, there was a blood hole in the center of his eyebrows. Afterwards, when Xuan Xiaodao found out about this, he burst into laughter again, and said, Good boy. There's something to be desired. I'm just about to develop a development site. And I haven't made a thorough plan yet. This bastard is going to expand first. Not bad, not bad. The restaurant was set on fire, and Xuan Luzhao led his troops to Huang Shanren's house. When Huang Shanren received the news, he took his family and escaped without a trace. In the huge yard, there were only a few things left, and even the family members were scattered. The half-human high porcelain vase was still there. Xuan Luzhao rubbed the porcelain vase and ordered the soldiers to search everywhere. Huang Shanren is rampant in the village. How much ability can he have when he leaves the village? The mayor was just killed again, and he was replaced by another who wagged his tail at Xuan Luzhao. Within 2 days, not only Huang Shanren, but also the 2 servants who beat him back then, knelt in the middle of their yard, shaking like autumn leaves, kowtowing and begging for mercy. Xuan Luzhao said, "Can't I touch your vase?" Huang Shanren said, "You can touch it. You can touch it." He squatted down and smashed it at the large piece of porcelain for a while, until the pieces were at most the size of a finger. Then he patted the ashes on his hands and said to the soldier standing next to him, "Take these." All were fed to them. The 3 were divided, and they were evenly distributed. There were some more and some less. Xuan Luzhao asked Huang Shanren, "Is the land deed in your family here?" Buried under the poplar tree in the old tomb in the back mountain. Xuan Luzhao asked someone to dig it up, saw Tianqi clearly, and nodded, "Well, then there is no need for 3 people to eat it, let the 2 people eat it." He took out his gun and pulled the trigger at the tinling cover, giving Huang Shanren a good time. The remaining 2 swallowed countless tiles alive, and their intestines were rotten. Then, another fire burned the courtyards with high walls of blue bricks. Later, when Xuan Xiaodao counted the stack of land deeds, he couldn't help but praise his nephew again. "You have the ability. You have the ability. At such a young age, to have such a method. Killing people without blinking an eye must be great in the future's promising. Well, maybe he's a good commander." After a lot of prestige in his hometown, Xuan Xiaodao came back with his nephew who is sure to be very promising in the future, and planned to promote Xuan Luzhao under his command first, head of the group. Although it is cronyism, but with the credit he has made, to promote a regiment commander, Commander Xuan will not refuse to agree. As a result, on the day that Xuan Luzhao was brought to see the commander, the 2 uncles and nephews were waiting outside in the small flower hall when they suddenly heard someone from somewhere called, "Young master is back from school." Xuan Luzhao turned around and saw the front door. A tall figure appeared, with a book under his arm, and approached slowly. If Xuan Luzhao had read the book, he would have been amazed at the time. "Ah, the eyes are like hanging beads, and the teeth are as beautiful as shells. Ah, this divine posture is high and clear, as straight as a Yaolin Yushu." It's a pity that Xuan Luzhao hadn't read the book for a few days. He was stunned as he watched the young man come from the direction of the sunset. Xuan Luzhao stared at the figure intently, with only that natural crazy thought in his mind, "I want to touch him. This man. His hair is so pretty, isn't it? His skin is so pretty, isn't it? His face is so delicate. It seems like it will be accidentally damaged if you touch it, but I must touch him." Xuan Luzhao stood up from the chair and waited for him to come in. He would try to touch him. But the man didn't come to the small flower hall, he passed by the window calmly. Xuan Luzhao wanted to chase, but was caught by the people around him. His uncle stared and asked, "Little beast, what do you want to do?" Xuan Luzhao asked, "Who was the one who passed by just now?" "Xuan Huaifeng. You even want to touch him, do you?" Xuan Luzhao asked back, "Didn't you say you can touch it if you want to? Starvation to death for the cowardly, and the courageous to death?" Xuan Xiaodao said, "You can't touch it. You can't touch it." Xuan Luzhao said, "Uncle, I'm no longer the head of the regiment. You are so talented, and you put me in Commander Xuan's mansion. I saw a lot of guards standing at the door. And I was also one of those guards." Xuan Xiaodao said, pressing his throat, "Fuck. Don't think I don't know what you're up to. That Xuan Huaifeng is the lifeblood of Commander Xuan. You think he is the mayor's crystal slipper or Huang Shanren's porcelain vase. This one, you are not allowed to touch it." Xuan Luzhao sneered, "Uncle, You said it yourself that Commander Xuan is only a matter of time. The old commander died, and he was sitting in the country by himself. You are now a division commander, go up. Let's go. The big deal is that you are a commander, you still have to listen to the commander. Don't you want to sit down? Xuan Xiaodao was stunned for a while, but he didn't speak for a long time. His face was intertwined with greed and fear, which stimulated the muscles on his cheeks to twitch secretly. Xuan Luzhao said, "Let me stay here. No matter how bad it is. I can act as a dark line for you." Finally, after being summoned by Commander Xuan, Xuan Luzhao became a bodyguard by Commander Xuan's side without much doing. It is not so difficult to realize Xuan Luzhao's wish. Not long after, by chance, he was patrolling the Xuan residence one day and was stopped by Xuan Huaifeng. "Hey, you. It's you." Xuan Huaifeng leaned out from the low wall of the yard next to him, and waved to him, "Come here." Xuan Luzhao was so excited that he could not believe it, and trotted over to report. Xuan Huaifeng was wearing a fashionable sports suit and holding a badminton racket in his hand, and asked him, "Can you play badminton?" Xuan Luzhao shook his head, "No." "What about foreign balls?" Xuan Huaifeng said, "It doesn't matter, I also practice casually. Let's take this racket and hit the badminton upwards. Remember to hit the direction of my side. Not too low." Xuan Luzhao nodded and said, "Okay." Holding the quirky foreign racket, his hands were shaking with excitement. However, the quirky ball was neither round nor square, with a few feathers hanging on it, which was even bigger than that of the Queen Mother. Difficult to serve. Several times the badminton was thrown into the air, and he swung the racket impatiently, but missed it, and the badminton fluttered back to the ground. Because Xuan Huaifeng has a badminton match at school in a few days, he made an appointment with Lin Qijun to practice badminton today. After changing into his sportswear, he is all ready. However, Lin Qijun has not come yet, so Xuan Huaifeng can only do whatever he wants. Find a guard and see if you can make do with practice. Unexpectedly, it is impossible to pull laymen to cooperate in this way. Xuan Huaifeng waited for a long time, but couldn't wait for the badminton to come over once or twice. He became impatient, and frowned slightly and said, "Forget it, I won't play. The racket is fine." He reached for the racket. Xuan Luzhao was dizzy, ate the gall of a leopard, and at the moment of returning the racket, he touched the back of Xuan Huaifeng's hand like lightning. "What? So slippery." "It is as slippery as a freshly steamed water egg, and it will definitely come out of the water when you pinch it." Xuan Huaifeng played sports at school, and it was very common to have contact with male classmates. He glanced at Xuan Luzhao indifferently, and didn't make a sound. He took the racket, picked up a few badmintons scattered on the ground, and walked inside. Xuan Luzhao chased after him and said, "Young master, I'm really sorry. I'm very stupid. I can't play this kind of hairball. Why don't I make you some other apology?" Xuan Huaifeng said, "It doesn't matter." Xuan Luzhao said, No, I have to make amends. Our Commander Xuan will definitely scold me when he finds out. It's not your fault either. But Okay. If you're really worried, you have to help me, Help me put the number 1 on the left in the cabinet over there. Open a drawer, take out the paper inside, and spread one on the desk here. Xuan Luzhao hurried to get it. Carefully and meticulously spread it out. Xuan Huaifeng rubbed the ink, dipped the nib of writing brush of Weasel Bristle's pen in the inkstone, suddenly looked up at him, and asked strangely, "Why are you still here?" Xuan Luzhao asked, "Young master, you just asked me to do this. Is it a trivial matter?" Xuan Huaifeng said, "What big thing can I ask you to do?" The corners of his lips were raised, and he smiled funny, revealing neat white teeth. Xuan Luzhao touched his hand just now. It was already a long-cherished wish. And he thought it was time to curb his wishful thinking. Seeing him show a smile now, like countless flowers suddenly blooming in the ice and snow, I was so shocked that I didn't know where I was. Suddenly, my heart roared. No, no, if you touch it like this, what is it? I have to. He used to touch the mayor's crystal chicken, just to play with it, but not to steal it. But it was soon uninteresting and smashed angrily. But it is definitely not the same thing for this young Master Xuan, who is loved by Commander Xuan as his lifeblood and who has grown up like a star and a moon since he was a child. Xuan Luzhao suddenly understood that for Xuan Huaifeng, he didn't want to touch it like a vase to test the feel of the hand, but wanted to go from head to toe, carefully, not letting go of an inch, rubbing and exploring. And rubbing and exploring. That is still not enough. If Xuan Huaifeng was that exquisite and fragrant crystal chicken, Xuan Luzhao was sure that he would definitely swallow him in one bite, even the flesh and the skin. And not a single bone was spit out. What's your name? Xuan Huaifeng turned his head and asked him. In fact, Xuan Huaifeng didn't have anything serious to write. But he practiced calligraphy casually and wrote a few old poems on the snow-white rice paper with a pen, unaware that the strange guard beside him had already had great ambitions for him. Xuan Luzhao came back to his senses and pretended to be silly. Oh, my name is Xuan Luzhao. Can you write your own name? I can't write. Xuan Luzhao was very annoyed. Why are you so useless? You can't even write words? Xuan Huaifeng had a calm expression on his face. There were many guards under his father who had not read books, so it was not surprising. He took a pen and scribbled on the rice paper. He had nothing to do anyway, so he just wanted to write the name of the guard so that he could recognize his own name. He moved the pen and asked, "Is it the do of the do?" "Yes." "So, it's Zhao next to the Japanese character?" "My father said, it's Zhao, which is clearly visible." Xuan Huaifeng wrote the 3 characters, looked at them, couldn't help chuckling, and asked him, "Who named you this?" Xuan Luzhao said, "My father specially sent a bottle of old wine and 2 caddies of beef. And asked an old gentleman from a private school to name it. When he named it, he said, do. If it's Zhao Ran's exposed, my father will remember it and tell it to me." Xuan Huaifeng said, "This name is very unreasonable. Sima Zhao's heart is well known to passers-by, and you have to reveal it." Ha. He smiled again. At this time, Lin Qijun came in a hurry, busy apologizing for being late. When Xuan Huaifeng saw him coming, he was very happy. He couldn't blame him. He dragged him to the open space in the courtyard to practice badminton. Since then, Xuan Luzhao has paid for his master to teach him in his spare time, read and learn calligraphy hard, and never show shame in front of Xuan Huaifeng again. Because of his name, Xuan Huaifeng was invited to chat with him a few times, and he smiled a few times, very curious. He asked his master for advice, and asked, "Sir, what is Sima Zhao's heart?" The master said, Sima Zhao was a Wei minister during the 3 Kingdoms period. And he had power over the court and the opposition. Everyone knew that he planned to usurp the throne, even the emperor. "I know it all, and I feel uneasy about it." The emperor once said a sentence. Sima Zhao's heart, and everyone knows it. So, this word has been passed down, which means that a person's ambition is very big, and everyone knows it. Xuan Luzhao understood, nodded, and asked again. "So, was this Sima Zhao later beheaded by the emperor?" The gentleman smiled and said, Where? The emperor not only failed to kill him, but he instead sent someone to kill the emperor. Later, his son really succeeded in usurping the throne and became emperor. This person, after all, is a big traitor. Xuan Luzhao sneered, the winner is the king, the loser is a bandit. His son has become the emperor, he is the supreme emperor, no matter what traitor and loyal minister he is. I thought to myself, the Jade young man said that I am Sima Zhao's heart. It was also exposed, which seems to be in line with the luck that God has rewarded me. If I can kill the emperor, I won't rob gold, silver and jewelry first. But first rob the emperor's indescribably beautiful prince to be my queen. Since then, I have been indulgent every day, wherever I want to touch, I can eat where I want to eat. The more he thought about it, the more excited he became, as if his blood was boiling. Xuan Luzhao swears to God that in this life, when he sees a Buddha and kills a Buddha, and when he sees a demon slaughtering a demon, how can he get the young man who is so clear and pure that he is fond of dreams? Xuan Huaifeng knew nothing about this. At that moment, he was unconcerned, and he was discussing with Lin Qijun about where to go to climb the mountain during the holiday.